Everyone, welcome to How to Review a Journal Article for Clinical Reasoning. Listed here are some resources for you when you are looking for a journal article to share with the class. The websites that I have most success with are SDMS, which is multi-specialty and cardiovascular topics. ASC is for echo, and then SVU is for vascular. We also have our own NMC John Moritz library as well. Now keep in mind, if you go to the internet and search for a journal article, you want to always make sure it's from a very accredited source. And really, these sources are going to be our most beneficial for sonography. There are other ones out there as well. You're going to want to make sure it's within the past 5 years. But let's say you find a topic and you don't have access to the article, or maybe they just give you a little snippet of it. What I suggest doing is contacting the library, which is in our library resource portion of our class, and seeing if they can get the article for you. They have a lot more access, and they've paid memberships in many of these societies, or at least resources for our search engines. So please utilize our library if you can't find an article. Majority of the articles that we are going to read in this course are something that's called peer reviewed. So peer reviewed, you can see that the person or the author, the researchers, people that are working on it, generally you'll find that those are often physicians, sonographers, or people in the field, do their research, put together this journal, and then they do something which is called peer review. Now, as an educator and even a professional sonographer, I've had the opportunity to been asked to peer review articles. So you'll see here is the peer review process. It's obviously building the journal, peer review process, and then us or whoever the peer reviewer is submitting suggestions, and then the article is then submitted for publish. One thing I want to hit on, and of course there's lots of points here. Why do we read journal articles? Which I think, by the way, number 8 is funny, to impress others. I think that's a joke. But basically why I think as a sonographer, I do think that these aspects that were previously listed by the last instructor are important, and yes, are good reasons why we read journal articles. I like to share my personal experience, why I think it's important as a student to be exposed to journal articles. And I would say that most important is you're going to be exposed to topics that are above your head. Honestly, if I'm speaking from the heart, some of these topics are above my head, and I've been in the field for well over a decade. So don't get discouraged if that is the case. Slow down when you read the article, take it easy. Go look for additional information if you need it. But I will tell you, they are so important because they are out in the field. They're going to keep you updated on the latest technology, pathology. They're going to allow you to discuss with physicians at a higher level. You may be asked to find a journal article and present on it. I had to do that several times at hospitals I worked for. So just know that it really is important when you're sitting there reading and you're not understanding potentially half of the article and you have to reread it 3 times. It's good for you, and it will start to click eventually. So be patient with yourself, give yourself grace. So this is how a journal article is broken down. Many of you may know this, but you're going to have a title generally, abstract, intro, methods, results, discussions, and then of course your references. The title, when you read the title, that's going to be important to you coming up when you're picking your journal article. So what are the major ideas addressed? You also want to look at who wrote it or who participated in the study. That is going to tell you a lot. You don't want to include anyone that has no credentials behind their name. So make sure that those are very important. You're going to get an abstract, and that's kind of nice to see, okay, what's this research about? It's going to give you what variables were examined, what were the findings, does the study show cause and effect, or does it just show that a relationship exists? Where was the work conducted? It can tell you a lot about the research itself, and that will help you pick or narrow down your journal articles when you're getting ready to submit those this week. Introduction is really going to give you information on all the following. So it starts to really dig in to why this article was written, what the research was. And so usually the introductions are very interesting and easier to read because it gets you off on the right foot. So methods is where it gets a little tricky for at least the heavier journal articles. This is where they start to talk about what research techniques are used by the author. Is the method employed by a valid test of the predictions or hypotheses? Has the researcher overlooked any possible confounds or extraneous variables which could affect the interpretations of the finding? And how do the methods employed compare with the methods used in other investigations of the same topic or phenomenon? So this is when it gets a little wordy and uses statistical information that maybe you haven't been exposed to a lot. My suggestion for you moving forward when you get to this point of the journal article is to utilize the images that are provided, to utilize the graphs or any of the data that is provided. That can really help you as a visual person to understand more. Results basically just sum up what the findings are. It's important, and you can look at maybe what worked, what didn't work, and ultimately how did the research go. You generally, I want to say usually, find a conclusion or discussion. I like this because it really does say, if the case study had limitations, what were they, or the journal? And were they right when they laid a hypothesis down, or were they incorrect? There's just so much that's laid out in the conclusion and discussion. It's almost tempting to run to that portion of the article first. But you'll really look through all the articles when you are reading them weekly and doing a review. So here's just how to select an article to share with the class. You want to make sure that the title has the keywords that you're looking for. That's often how you'll search for the article. You'll read the abstract, summary, and conclusion first to narrow down your articles. You want to look for clear-cut aims and objectives, well-defined research hypothesis, and are the conclusions precise? So is everything that you're looking for there, is it relevant to what you need? If yes, then you go and you move forward and read the entire article. It'd be really difficult for you in 1 week to read many, many, many journal articles to narrow it down. So this is a process that helps you in a realistic manner pick what article you will need. Okay, so just a little suggestion when you're searching. I like this. Keep calm and happy reading. Please reach out if you have any questions when you're doing your search for an article to share for this week. Remember, your topic is also listed, whether it's vascular or echo, so please pay attention to that. And then look forward to reading your classmates' articles and, of course, yours week 2 and beyond. Thank you.